Greetings, welcome back to Black Bear News, where we are discussing climate change, abrupt climate change, and things adjacent. And I'm just going to bring you more articles delineating the state of the climate, the state of the planet. As you would guess, it's not good. This is very recent. This is from Monday, June 17th, and this is an ongoing situation. Temperatures touching 51 degrees Celsius. That's 124 degrees Fahrenheit. A historic drought causing millions of people to abandon their homes in search of water and causing mass suicides in India. This is big. This is really massive. And this is, this is from the Big Wobble, is the website that it's from. Excuse me. Hundreds of Indian villagers have been evacuated as historic drought forces families to abandon their homes in search of water. The country has seen extremely high temperatures in recent weeks. On Monday, the capital Delhi saw its highest ever June temperature of 48 C. Highest ever June temperature of 48 C in Rajasthan. The city of Churu recently experienced highs of 50.8 C. That's above 120 degrees, making it the hottest place on the planet. Further south, less than 250 miles from the country's commercial capital, Mumbai, village after village lies deserted. Estimates suggest up to 90% of the area's population has fled, leaving the sick and elderly to fend for themselves in the face of a water crisis that shows no sign of abating. So if you're wondering when the Mad Max or when the, crazy climate refugee crisis starts to hit, it's right now. It's just not here yet, but it's right now. The village of Hatkarwadi, about 20 miles from Bede in Maharashtra state, is almost completely deserted. Wells and hand pumps have run dry in the 45C heat wave. The drought, which officials say is worse than the 1972 famine that affected 25 million people across the state, began early in December. By the end of May, Hatkarwadi had been deserted, with only 10 to 15 families remaining out of a population of more than 2,000. With 80% of districts in neighboring Karnataka and 72% in Maharashtra hit by drought and crop failure, the 8 million farmers in these two states are struggling to survive. More than 6,000 tankers supply water to villages and hamlets in Maharashtra daily as conflict brews between the two states over common water resources. The acute water shortage has devastated villagers' agriculture-based livelihood. Crops have withered and died, leaving livestock starving and with little to drink. Major crops including maize, soya, cotton, sweet lime, pulses, and groundnuts. Drivers of local economy have suffered. Around the world, stronger El Nino weather patterns and the ongoing climate breakdown are bringing harsher and more frequent droughts, and already dry India has been particularly hard hit. Scientists predict that as temperatures continue to rise with global heating and populations grow, the region will experience harsher water shortages and will need to find clever solutions to ensure there is enough water for all. In Marathwada, by many estimates, the Indian region most affected by drought, increasing frequent droughts have led to more than 4,700 farmer suicides in the last 5 years, including 947 last year. That crisis has deepened. Hospitals are filling up with people from dehydration and gastrointestinal disease from drinking contaminated water. Residents who can afford to pay private water tankers, the equivalent of, I don't know what L3 is, for 1,000 liters of water, many end up in hospital as a result. Even cows refuse to drink the muddy and salty liquid that has been dredged from the bottom of exhausted dams and lakes in the region. So it is going from bad to worse in India. I'm going to move on to this article from the Siberian Times. Alarming wildfires rage near giant mouth of hell gash in the tundra, a wonder of Siberia. This is from June 13th. Roughly a week ago, the fires are now raging some 10 to 15 kilometers from the Mega Slump crater, a large hole in the frozen Arctic soil which highlights the dramatic speed of thawing permafrost. The Batagaika, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing that, or Batagai mega slump is a tadpole-shaped depression around 1 kilometer long, 800 meters wide, and 100 meters deep. It is growing by some 15 to 30 meters a year, but if it is hit by the nearby inferno, this would destroy trees on its rim and loosen the soil even more, resulting in further collapse. So some pictures of what's going on here. Changes in the local climate have seen an almost snowless winter in this northern outpost, with the dry weather exacerbating the risk of wildfires spreading. Wildfires in the vicinity have 4 epicenters, say in Verkhoyansk district in Yakutia region, also known as Sakha Republic. Head of the district, Gavril Shirokov, reported the arrival of firefighting teams with some 58 people in total deployed, mainly on saving villages. Natural fires also threaten the village of Batagai. More pictures here. So ongoing wildfires in Siberia, where it's supposed to be cold for most of the year. They had an almost snowless winter. For all of you, it's so cold. Must mean that the global dimming is upon us, fools. This is from Al Jazeera. Tens of millions suffer as power outage hits Argentina and Uruguay. This is from, I don't know if this is from 6 hours ago. It says 6 hours ago on this. I saw this actually a couple days ago. Authorities scrambling to restore power in Argentina, Uruguay, and parts of Paraguay after massive blackout. Buenos Aires, Argentina, a massive power outage plunged tens of millions of people in Argentina, Uruguay, and parts of Paraguay into the dark on Sunday. So Sunday, this is 4 days ago, or yeah, 5 days ago. And what government officials called an extraordinary and unprecedented blackout, the cause of which is not yet known. The blackout struck 7:07 a.m. local time, triggered by what Argentine government officials called a failure in a coastal grid that serves a number of countries and a total disconnection. Lastly, in this video, I'm going to read you a brand new Way Past What the Fuck from Michael Campy. This is dated Wednesday, June 19th, and is titled, "The Carnival is Over." And this starts out with a quote. "We're fighting a war that's already over. All this mayhem, it isn't some plucky underground resistance movement. It's an extinction burst." And that's from Harold Finch, which is a character in a Netflix series called Person of Interest, which is quite good, by the way. "There is a tragedy to accepting our imminent demise. It comes in the form of loss of friendships with people who no longer want to talk to you, loss of relationships with wives, husbands, and children who don't want to believe what you say is true. Most importantly, loss of the amazing natural world, a world that we have somehow convinced ourselves is separate from us. Despite a massive body of evidence to the contrary, there are still a lot of people who want things to get better, a lot of people that believe it is not that bad or that we can do something, a lot of people who do not understand, as we do, that it is over. The idea of accepting our deaths does not come easy, but it really must come. For tens of thousands of years, our ancestors were in daily contact with death. The idea that they would live forever or be able to change the circumstances that would result in death never occurred to them. The world around them made it clear that there is an ongoing process of life and death, and that's just how it is. I can see glimmers of hope and fear in people's eyes. Hope that they are wrong and fear that they are right. Almost nowhere do I see the calm of acceptance. I heard a story about a group of students who were studying Buddhism. One of the students, it was said, had achieved enlightenment. All the other students wanted to know about it, so they sought him out. He was found sweeping the floor in the monastery's dining room. They asked what it felt like. He stopped sweeping for a moment and said, "As miserable as ever," then went back to sweeping. That is acceptance, a calm realization that you are finite. The concept of accepting was explained to me as being a long flight of stairs at the top of which was a door marked acceptance, and you climb the stairs and open the door only to find another flight of stairs and another door. The process is gradual, and each flight of stairs leads to a slightly more clear vision of what acceptance is. Each flight you go up frees you a little more, like dropping a weight belt in a 100 feet of water and rising towards the surface, feeling the pressure release as you get closer, and then the final relief of breaking the surface. Not accepting our fate keeps us in prison, keeps us struggling with the weight of water, and prevents us from being truly free. I remember when I first began the process of letting go of hope for a future. It was a massive relief, mostly because I have not planned for retirement. And I am in my mid-60s, also because with the tyranny of hope lifted, I was now freer than I had ever been. Of dying, Friedrich Nietzsche said, "One should die proudly when it is no longer possible to live proudly." The situation we find ourselves in makes it increasingly hard to live proudly, and so we must accept our fate and be willing to die proudly. If you don't know how to die, don't worry. Nature will tell you what to do on the spot, fully and adequately. She will do the job perfectly for you. Don't bother your head about it. And that's a quote from Montaigne. Just accept it. In an article titled "How Then Shall We Live?", Barbara Cecil said, "For those brave enough to walk into the realm of acceptance, the illusion of human superiority erodes. No longer the apex of creation, we are now required to find our place in the web of life. No one is coming to save us, and increasingly we are alone in our digital cocoons. So take the time to look out the window, listen to the birds, and talk to the lizards, and become part of the natural world." And with that, I am going to leave you for this video. Thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. If you would like to support this channel, you can do so at the links below. Until next time, peace.